Spider-Man Miles Morales has a total of 50 PlayStation trophies, and the Platinum Trophy has only been obtained by 6.2% of all players. Originally, I was planning to learn the Platinum Trophy speedrun, but for reasons that I will explain later, I decided that it was not my cup of tea. Therefore, you get to see what a casual Platinum Trophy grind looks like from a speedrunner's perspective, and maybe you'll learn a thing or two. For the Platinum Trophy, you're actually not required to play on any specific difficulty, but for entertainment purposes, I decided to do my first playthrough on the Spectacular difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty before unlocking New Game Plus. We start off Miles Morales with the Rhino fight, where we have to chase him down and defeat him with some new combat abilities. During this chapter of the story, I have to ride on top of Rhino through a shopping mall, which earns me the Rhino Rodeo Trophy. It's at this point where we get introduced to Miles' new electric powers called Venom powers, not to be confused with Venom the character. By holding L1 and pressing square, I'm able to do a Venom punch and stun Rhino for a period of time, allowing me to deal damage with regular attacks. After defeating Rhino, we eat pizza with Peter Parker and take the Spider-Man Oath, something he definitely didn't make up at all. We also get introduced to the skill tree here, which I will need to unlock completely, and several of these skills are only obtainable during a New Game Plus playthrough. I have some issues with this, which I will complain about later, but for now, let's proceed. After reaching the next cutscene, we get a new suit from Peter as a parting gift and obtain the A Gift from Pete trophy. Fun fact, there's actually a really cool glitch I learned here while learning the speedrun, where by manipulating the pause menu and photo mode in a specific way, you can get launched from the ending of the cutscene to the complete opposite side of the map. Oh, I did it! I did the thing, okay. I didn't expect that to work first try. Holy cow. At this point, we get introduced to Peter Parker's training challenges, consisting of combat, stealth, and traversal challenges. I'll need to complete every one of these with an ultimate rank to get a trophy. I was struggling a lot with this first challenge. The goal for this challenge was to do 50 hits, and I was barely managing to get 30 to 40. My first attempt got a 26, and for completing my first challenge with a spectacular rank, I earned the Punching Pixels trophy. After a bunch of failed attempts at ultimate rank, someone in my Twitch chat told me I could spin objects for longer by mashing the triangle button. Thanks to this advice, I was able to get a whopping 71 hits. I then went into the menu and unlocked my first suit mod, earning me the Mod That Suit trophy. After investigating a break-in at Roxxon Plaza, I get ambushed by a group of people with purple weapons, later revealed to be the Underground. At this point, I really started enjoying the combat. It was faster and snappier than the first Spider-Man game on PS4, and it was about to get a hell of a lot better now that I've unlocked Venom Jump. Venom Jump allows you to hold L1 and press the jump button, which scoops most enemies into the air, letting you quickly finish them off. I quickly got very addicted to using this move and used it pretty much everywhere. I returned to Miles' apartment, where I helped to set up for Christmas Eve dinner by lighting a Christmas tree, putting a record into a vinyl player, and Venom punching a generator to restore power? Yeah, cause that's totally how that works. Our friend Finn visits us, and I'll definitely be seeing her a lot later, although I had no idea at the time. Waking up the next morning, our roommate introduces us to the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man app. This allows you to quickly select any crime and side quests that we haven't completed, instead of having to wait for them to randomly show up like in the previous game. This is a really nice quality of life change, and one I'll be using a lot in the later parts of the Platinum Trophy grind. Our first app user happens to be Miles' uncle Aaron, who is able to guess Miles' identity right away. While helping Uncle Aaron, we come across our first underground cache, which I'll need to find and collect all 35 of for a trophy. These caches also give us tech parts, which we can spend on gadget upgrades, which again, we'll need to unlock all of. By helping Aaron and getting the trains running again, I obtain the Harlem Express trophy. After that, I did my favorite quest in the game, which is to save an adorable cat named Spider-Man. He's so cute, I wish I could keep him. Meeting up with Finn again, she shows Miles a time capsule that they've been hiding. This is one of many throughout the city, and similar to the backpacks in the first Spider-Man, I have to collect all 15 of them in every district for a trophy. We then go to attend Miles' mom's city council rally at Roxxon Plaza, only to get ambushed by more underground people. I have to chase them down to the bridge to prevent them from stealing Roxxon's new form, and this is probably my favorite visual sequence in the game, with some pretty cool QuickTime events. We learn here that Finn is a part of the Underground, and after saving everyone from the collapsing bridge, I receive the Hanging by a Thread trophy, and Miles Morales, in a panic, learns to use the power of invisibility. This is an extremely useful ability for various stealth challenges that I need to do, as it lets you walk around freely without being seen, or quickly go back into hiding after being spotted. After the bridge catastrophe, Genki gives Miles some encouragement, and Miles decides that that he doesn't need to be like Peter's Spider-Man and to do things his own way, making his own unique costume in the process. While investigating Finn's involvement in the underground, we find out that her brother created Nuform but got sick from it due to its unstable properties. With the help of Uncle Aaron, who reveals himself to be the Prowler, we infiltrate the Roxxon lab to retrieve Finn's phone that she lost there during a Nuform reactor incident caused by Simon Krieger that killed her brother. During the infiltration, we learned that there are other Roxxon bases throughout the city, which we need to complete for a trophy. After shutting down the Nuform reactor and facing off against some goons, we earned the Core of the Problem trophy. Taking Aaron's advice, Miles asks Finn to join the underground without revealing to her that he's Spider-Man, and we find out where their base of operations is, which is at Fisk Tower. Then as Spider-Man, I infiltrate the underground hideout. During this mission, I unlock the Venom Dash ability, which lets you quickly dash into an enemy by holding L1 and pressing triangle. This is really useful for closing the distance on someone. During the second fight here, I earned the Up and Over trophy for performing a Venom Jump and then a Venom Dash on a single enemy. It was at this point that we discovered the existence of the underground hideouts, which we have to complete in every district for a trophy. Each of the Roxxon bases and the underground hideouts have a cache hidden somewhere as well, so I'll need those too. They can be quite hidden at times, and some of them require you to finish the quest before they're accessible. You know what's not hidden though? The like and subscribe button. If you press these, you'll be helping this video reach a wider audience, and we're also really close to 10,000 subscribers, which is my goal by the end of 2023. Also leave a comment for the algorithm down below and tell me who your favorite live-action Spider-Man is. After leaving the Fisk Tower, I earned the True Deception trophy. Next, I did my first stealth challenge, and I really hated it. Not because of how difficult it was, but because Peter Parker would not stop talking. It'd be better if Peter wasn't constantly talking. I'm just saying. I had to restart this challenge well over 20 times, and Peter constantly repeated the same dialogue over and over and over again. This challenge required me to defeat every single enemy within 2 minutes while not getting spotted by any enemy, and being stealthy while also being fast is much harder than I thought it would be. No. Oh, frick. Really? Oh, those three. Because of how much I was restarting, I earned the Nowhere to Hide trophy for performing 100 stealth takedowns. And after 12.5 minutes, I was finally able to complete the challenge and earn the Spectacular rank, getting me the Dodging Light trophy. This wasn't good enough though, and I pushed on through to get the Ultimate rank. Finally, after 15 more minutes, I completed the Ultimate rank challenge in under 2 minutes. In total, this took me 27.5 minutes to complete. Surely I won't have to spend a lot of time on a singular challenge like this again. After that, I break into another underground facility to recover some stolen Nuform, after which we find out that Finn is planning to get revenge on Simon Krieger by destroying the Nuform reactor at Roxxon Plaza and exposing its dangers to the public. After getting ambushed, Finn steals the Nuform from us and we have to chase her down. As Finn is about to kill Miles, he takes off his mask to reveal his true identity, and I earn the Velocis Gates trophy. After several more side quests, I meet up with Uncle Aaron again, and he introduces me to his music challenges, where we have to find and record a specific sound. As a musician myself, this is really awesome, especially when we get to hear all of the sounds from these challenges combined at the end. Miles tells Aaron that he's going to meet Finn at Trinity Church to reconcile with her, and we part ways. Next, I did the Combat Challenge 2.0, which requires me to take out all of the enemies without getting hit a single time. This was honestly harder than I expected, but with the help of Venom Jump combos, I was able to clear this in 7 attempts. After that, I went straight to the next Combat Challenge. This time I had to kill 10 enemies while in the air, which I accomplished very easily on the very first try. After meeting up with Finn at Trinity Church, we get ambushed by Rhino. Turns out that the Prowler told Roxxon where we'd be. It's at this point where we learn the Mega Venom Blast, which is an extremely powerful venom attack that uses all 3 venom bars and does massive damage with a very big blast radius. This move will be very useful later, and can also be useful during New Game Plus. Now that we're free, we have to escape the Roxxon facility with Finn's help. At the end of the mission, I have to fight Rhino again, but this time he has new venom resistant armor. So instead of using venom attacks on Rhino, I have to make him run into these tanks to stun him. In the second phase of the fight, I have to charge a part of the tank with venom and throw it back at Rhino. I was getting hit a lot here, and later on during my speedrun attempt, I'd learned that it's faster to venom jump here and throw the object while in the air. Now that his armor is broken, I can finish him off with venom powers once and for all, and earn the Exploding Bulldozer trophy. After defeating Rhino, Finn gets mad at Miles for stopping her from killing Rhino, so she knocks Miles out. Genki brings Miles home, and his mother discovers that he's the new Spider-Man. In classic Spider-Man fashion, Miles recovers almost immediately and continues his Spider-Man duties. On my way to a traversal challenge, I got rudely shot out of the sky by the Prowler and got captured. Now it's time for one of my favorite fights in the game. Prowler's able to go invisible here, similar to Miles, and it's my goal to react to his attacks whenever he becomes visible again, and then use Venom Dash to stun him for a bit. In the third phase, Prowler summons some clones, so I quickly deal with them and then defeat the Prowler, earning the Family Drama Trophy. Okay, now I can do the traversal challenge. The goal here is to get through all of the rings in under 30 seconds, which requires me to master point launches, and on my second attempt, I completed it successfully and earned the Launch, Swing, and Dive trophy. Next I head to the Oscorp Science Center to progress the story some more. I may or may not have died a few times here, but thankfully I remembered that invisibility can save me from any situation and put me back into hiding. After defeating all of the enemies and doing a puzzle that I completely overcomplicated, it was time for a flashback segment. During this segment, I stumbled across this button mashing minigame, and by winning it, I earned the Competitive Spirit trophy. And by walking through Miles and Finn's past, I earned the Shared History trophy. Come on game, that was just a freebie. After fighting off 2 more mob fights, it was finally time to stop Finn once and for all. This is definitely my favorite fight in the game, and a pretty tough one at that. Even in the first phase, I was dying several times. Finn has this really long sword that's hard to dodge, and if you try to go invisible, Finn spams a bunch of grenades like people who spam one-man army noob tubes in Modern Warfare 2 lobbies. In the second and third phase, Finn loves to camp far away from you and spam her annoying laser gun, and in the last phase, she spams a bunch of discs from a distance, which I can dodge with a little bit of precision. Safe to say, Finn would definitely fit into the current Call of Duty camping meta. After defeating Finn, Miles absorbs the new form from the reactor, becoming overloaded with energy. After realizing her mistakes, Finn flies Miles to the sky so he can discharge all of his power without anyone being in harm's way, which kills Finn in the process. My question is, why didn't she just attach her boots to Miles so that he can get launched into the sky without her? Well, whatever. For saving Harlem and completing the story, I obtained the Ultimate Sacrifice trophy. Now all that's left is to 100% all of the districts, complete New Game Plus, and get some miscellaneous trophies that I'm missing, including this one where I pay respects to this Stan Lee statue. Next I discovered yet another set of collectibles that I need to get, and this one is quite wholesome. For Miles' birthday, his mom hid a bunch of postcards throughout the city that he has to find in a certain order, and each one has a recording from his now deceased father. These cards have some pretty cryptic riddles, so some of them were a little tricky to find. Anyway, for the next few hours, I spent my time finishing 100% of tasks in every district. I'll spare you most of the details because I'd rather not bore you guys to death, although I do want to go over the rest of the Peter Parker training challenges since those are really fun. Stealth Challenge 2.0 is next. For this one I had to take out some enemies and free 3 hostages in under 1 minute and 30 seconds. I really struggled with this, but once I found the most optimal route, I completed it in 69 seconds. Nice. After that, I finished up the last underground hideout, unlocking the Underground Undone trophy. It was also at this point that I realized that every underground hideout and Roxxon base had an underground cache hidden there, and I felt really dumb for not seeing those icons on the map. I wandered aimlessly in some of these hideouts until I realized that I can only find those caches during the mission or right after the mission ends, which honestly is a strange game design decision. In southern Chinatown, while I was looking for a time capsule, I got surprised by the I'm on a boat trophy. And that also happened to be my last time capsule, so I earned the Urban Explorers trophy as well. It was time for my last sound sample as well, which took me way longer than I should have. Turns out it's the giant cruise ship in the middle of the ocean. For collecting all of the sound samples, I earned the Deep Cuts trophy, and I got to hear all of the samples combined at Prowler's hideout. Take a listen. Yo. Next it was time for Stealth Challenge 3.0. Oh boy. This one made me get a little bit tilted. Similar to the last stealth challenge, I have to take out enemies here without getting seen and defuse 3 bombs in under 90 seconds. This one heavily relies on the usage of remote mines, and by sticking them to these electric panels, it's supposed to make the blast radius of the mines a lot bigger, as well as one-shot enemies that get close. For some odd reason though, I kept getting this weird glitch where even though I'd be snapped onto the electric panel, the mines would miss and would no longer one-shot enemies that came close. Because of this, I messed up so many times. At the start of the challenge, challenge, I earned the Trapped trophy for defeating 50 enemies with remote mines, and the Invisible Spider trophy for defeating 50 enemies while camouflaged. And finally, after 27 minutes of attempts, I completed the challenge in 63 seconds. Look, even speedrunners can have bad days. After this, I realized that I had a bunch of activity tokens saved up, so I upgraded a bunch of my gadgets, earning me the Kit Bash trophy. For the next trophy, I have to do a pretty basic side quest. This girl from Feast tells Miles that there's a plan taking place at the shipping warehouses at the docks. Turns out that this was all a distraction by the Kingpin, and there's an attack happening at the park. After dealing with the enemies at the park, I earned the Come at the King trophy. I wonder if this guy will return in Spider-Man 2. I also got this really cool scarf and hat as a bonus. This was my favorite suit in the game, until like 1 minute later when I did the next quest called Cat's Pajamas, which unlocks by saving Spider-Man the cat and then beating the main story. As a reward, you get to keep the cat with you at all times. This time he wears a cool Spidey mask and can also join you during specific finisher moves. If this cat doesn't come back in Spider-Man 2, I will throw a fit. Finally, after completing all of the app activities and crimes, a final activity appears called Thank You Spider-Man. Once you get to the objective marker, you'll find a really wholesome note and gift from the friendly neighborhood featuring a black and gold suit with a really awesome shot of this Black Lives Matter mural, and the 5-star review trophy. To the devs at Insomniac, you are freaking awesome for doing this. Mad respect. Time for Traversal Challenge 2.0. This one has me go through a bunch of rings in 32 seconds or less. This one was a bit more difficult as you can't rely on just point launches here, and Peter won't shut up about pizza. This challenge took me about 6 minutes, which is not too terrible.
Web swinging terrified me at first. Felt like being on a malfunctioning carnival ride. Then, months in, I chased some bank robbers over the Queensboro Bridge. 6 a.m. Sun was rising. Wow. You would have not seen New York till you've seen it kissed by the sun for 3 hours. Whole Long Island of people all waking up to live their lives. And here I was, swinging like a mad dog over the East River, chasing a bunch of knuckleheads and hockey moves.
There we go. Next, I went to the final Roxxon lab, earning the Under Their Noses trophy. There was an underground cache hidden there that I completely forgot to grab, and I struggled to find it for like 15 minutes until I realized that I had to take an alternate path at the start of the vents to find it. I also had this really interesting glitch here. Guys, I only had one cache left at this underground base, and after opening the crate, I obtained the Salvager trophy. Time for Traversal Challenge 3.0. This one has you go through all of the rings in 45 seconds or less, but this time you can go through the rings in any order, so it's up to you to determine the best path. On my first attempt, I got a time of 50 seconds, unlocking the Spider Training Complete trophy, but I knew I could do better. After 6 more minutes, I finally got the run.
Making choices is what this hero thing is all about. Stop the car thief or the bank robber, rescue the hostages, or defuse the bomb. To excel, you gotta see not just the move right in front of you, but the one after that, and the one after that. It's tough as heck. That's the job. The more you practice, the sharper your instincts will be. And those instincts are the foundation you build everything else on. Hone them, trust them, love them.
Pete's right. Gotta practice so I don't even have to think about it.
There we go. I then went to the last postcard, which was at a basketball court that Miles and his dad used to play on, earning me the Memory Lane trophy and a whole lot of sadness. Now it was time for the final Peter Parker challenge. As a reward for completing all of the previous challenges, I get to fight a boss from the previous game, the Vulture. This fight is pretty similar to the fight from the first game, so I had no trouble taking him down, and I earned the Pete's First Villain trophy and a New Home trophy for 100%ing all of the districts. Now it's time for the final stretch. With only 16 trophies left, it was time to tackle all of the miscellaneous trophies I was missing, and then complete New Game Plus. The first and arguably the hardest trophy I tackled was the Never Saw It Coming trophy, which requires you to complete an enemy base without being detected. Because I'm a speedrunner, I was very impatient and failed this challenge several times. No, the very last enemy? Are you freaking kidding me? Lame. Yay! Okay. I then grinded the same enemy base for the 100x combo trophy, spammed the gravity well and mega venom blast a billion times for the overcharge trophy, and crafted my first visor mod for the look with better eyes trophy. Yeah, feel free to make fun of me, I don't care. Well, maybe I care a little bit. Next I used Venom Dash to throw an enemy into a group of 3 or more for the From Downtown trophy. Used a sticker and changed the lighting in photo mode for the JJJ Would Be Proud trophy. Scrolled through the entire social media feed for the Socially Acceptable trophy. Completed every bonus objective for every crime for the Crime Master trophy. Paid respects to my dad's grave for the Never Give Up trophy. And got hit by an invisible train. Yeah, I don't understand it either. Next I performed 25 wall takedowns for the Climbing Walls trophy, performed 25 ceiling takedowns for the From the Rafters trophy, and started my New Game Plus playthrough. Now it's time for me to complain a bit. I love this game, but this New Game Plus playthrough was one of the most resident sleeper things I've had to do in modern history. New Game Plus as a trophy requirement isn't horrible on its own, but I had to sit through so many cutscenes that I've already watched because at least half of them are not skippable. Why? Please, for the love of God, let Spider-Man 2 not have this problem. Please, Insomniac, please. Anywho, New Game Plus time. I pretty much blazed through all of this on the easiest difficulty to make my life easier. First, I had to break a billion things in the shopping mall with Rhino, and I obtained the Like a Rhino in a China Shop trophy. For the next 2 trophies, I needed to unlock all of the suits and skills, but I still didn't have enough activity tokens, even after 100%ing the previous playthrough. So I had to do a bunch of side quests to grind up to the points that I needed. After about an hour of grinding, I had enough tokens and earned the Just the Beginning trophy, and 11 minutes after that, I earned the Ready for Anything trophy. Finally, I blazed through all the way to the end of the story, which took about another 4 hours, and earned the Plus Plus trophy and the Be Yourself Platinum trophy. I want to say huge thanks to my channel members for providing some extra support to the channel. It really means a lot to me. If you're not a member at the moment and would like to become a member, consider pressing the join button for just $4.99 a month. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.